If you're the type that craves adventure to go to places where there are no roads, there are no toilets, and there's no cell signal, the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon is going to be the perfect one for you. For over 80 years, the Jeep has evolved from its humble military origins to become something of a real adventure vehicle. And a lot about this vehicle is really about getting you out there, because they spared no expense designing, engineering it to be as capable as possible. So what we have here is the 2024 edition of the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. When we say Rubicon, like you see here on the hood, it means it's the top spec variant with all the bells and whistles to help you with your adventure. And you can see it right now. For 2024, they changed out the front a little bit. You can see that it's a bit more blacked out here with this nice mesh grille. Yes, still 7 slots, still a Jeep icon. The round headlights, that's something that's been a Jeep hallmark since time immemorial. Now, it's got this new halo here for the DRLs. It looks very nice and very crisp, especially at night. And then you've got these projector headlights here lighting up the trail for you. Now, the bumper has also changed. If you notice, it's a lot more robust. It's got these red tow hooks there, so you can help pull out your friends if they do get stuck, if they're not really driving something as capable as this. You can help them out with this, or you can change it out, upgrade it, because there's a lot of aftermarket available for something like the Jeep Wrangler. The front fenders, these are raised compared to before, because if you notice, the way they position it, they had to put a cutout for the clip for the hood to accommodate the higher fender. What that gives you is the ability to mount 36-inch tires to give you better off-road clearance and better capability. But as it stands from the factory, this one comes with 33-inch tires with 17-inch wheels. And if you look underneath, being a true Jeep, it's got solid Dana axles, front and rear, with front and rear lockers. So it's really no problem wherever you want to take it when the road gets really tricky. Now let's go through the Wrangler from bumper to bumper. I already mentioned the tires and the wheels and the nice Jeep throwback logo right there, the silhouette of the original GP. Now, Rubicon spelled out neatly here. You got vents on the hoods, you got little catches there, little bumpers there. It allows you to fold it up without damaging the glass. By the way, it's Corning Gorilla Glass. And then you can also fold down the windshield if you so wish, but you may need to remove the wipers to be able to do that if you so want to remove it. Trail rated 4x4 badges. By the way, this is not just cosmetics, because it really is trail rated in the way they prove these vehicles. Jeep there with the red outline. Like I mentioned, this being the Unlimited, you have 4 doors on the side. So 2 here, 2 there. And by the way, these doors are removable. You just need a Torx 50 screw head there to remove this. Same with the one in the back. And also, speaking of removable, you can remove the roof. It's a 3-piece, one on this side, one on the other side, and this one here at the very back. But I don't think it's a one-person job. Maybe for the front, for the back, you may need a helping hand to be able to remove those if you want to enjoy open-top 4x4 enthusiasm or adventure, whatever. There are some out there who would call the Jeep Wrangler a retro vehicle, but not really. Like I said, it's purpose-driven. Everything about the vehicle is about being able to go off-road to enhance the capability. So for example, the fenders, if you notice, unpainted, that's for a purpose, because it's easier to clean. And you know, when you scuff it up, you're not really gonna care that much about it. The taillights, these have also evolved over the years, and it's got these new LED patterns here. The rear spare tire, that is also purpose-driven, because by mounting it here, it frees up space underneath there. So that means you don't sacrifice on your departure angle if you're going up a steep ramp or a steep incline. That is very, very useful. Now, being the Rubicon variant, you've got these red tow hooks as well. Very much unmissable, really, when it comes to that. Your tow points, very easy. High mount stop lamp, but what we really like is when you start playing around with the space of the vehicle. So it's a double hinged rear, because you have one there and then you have one here. So it's actually very convenient. Now the space here is about 37 inches by 40.5 wide. When you fold down the rear seats, it goes up to around 67. But what we like is that when you look inside, you can see that you've got your roll cage there, because if you want to go off-roading by removing the top, you really can. You'll still be very much safe. And then you've got this. You've got compartments here, you got space there for stuff, but more importantly, you've got this panel here which has holes for your hinges, meaning the screws, the torque screws there, like I said earlier, you can put them all here so you don't lose any. I mean, it's gonna be a real hassle if you go out on a trail without your doors and then you lose all your pins, right? So here, very easy. Same for the hood, same for the windshield, lots of stuff there, and tools right under here. Like I said, everything here is about purpose. And you can see it when you look right here, because Jeep proudly publishes Made in America right there on their vehicle. They've got the specs here of the 2-door, and then this unlimited 4-door variant. You got your wheelbase, you even have your maximum wading depth, which right here says 34 inches at 5 miles per hour. I don't think I'm gonna exceed that, but I know very much that this truck can do it. Now, to close this up, close that down, close this up, and let's go check out what's inside the new Jeep Wrangler. I almost tripped there. Either I'm really short or this vehicle is really tall, or maybe even a little bit of both. But powering the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon is a 2-liter turbo gasoline engine. You can see the turbo over there on that side. It's quite big. It's got the intake way up here. You can even mount a snorkel here. There's plenty of aftermarket for a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, so don't you worry when it comes to accessories. Now for power, you got 268 American horses with 400 Newton meters of torque. Your transmission is a 4x4 8-speed automatic, very easy to use, we'll show you in a bit. Solid axles front and rear, like I said, with lockers front and rear as well, making everything easy. And you have that disconnecting sway bar. It's really all about getting you through the toughest kind of terrain. But that really is the definition of trail rated. Because if you look at the engine bay, there are a lot of little and even big touches that allow it to go anywhere you want it to go. Because like I said, intake is very high. All those electrical plugs, electronic sensors and all that, they've got really good rating for water wading. That is something they really put into their vehicles. And also, being the way it is, it's quite maneuverable, even on the tricky terrain we encountered earlier. That's really what Jeep is about. Engineering with a purpose when it comes to 4x4. One thing we truly appreciate about the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon is that it's function over form. Like, you look at the layout of the dashboard, everything here has a purpose. There's no wasted space when it comes to just fancy design details for the sake of having fancy design details. For example, the 12.3-inch screen, we'll get to that later, but it's nice and new. The way they do the gauges, it's all very clear. Tachometer on the left, speedometer right with a nice color multi-info display right here in the middle. Indicator for your four-wheel drive system right over here. Your steering wheel, nice and round, and it's got a nice leather wrap with the red accent, which is kind of a motif all around the vehicle. If you notice, red, and then a little bit of red here, all that stuff kind of gives it a nice contrast overall with the black. Now you look here. Here you have a lot of controls, and it's got these exposed Allen bolts. I think it's Allen bolts, and it looks very, very truck-like, very functional. We appreciate that kind of thing. So you look here. Your AC control is here for the fan speed. There you go. And then you have volume here, your tune, and then your other controls for the functions of the vehicle, like defoggers, steering wheel heater, your seat heater. We're not going to use that. I mean, we do that prank here for whoever's sitting here, but it's really just a prank. Your auto start stop button for the engine, so to save you fuel when you're stuck in traffic. This one does come in handy. Stability control, mute. This one is your control for your speed, which is something useful when you're let's say wading or going off-road, that kind of thing. parking sensors there. And one thing I like, particularly when it's at night, you can turn off the screen right there, so it prevents the extra glare in your eye, extra distraction, so it's very nice. On the doors, you have the buttons for the unlock and lock. On the driver's side, you do have your mirror control, the mirror adjustment right over here. But if you notice on the doors, you won't get your power window switch there, because those doors being removable, you have the switches right over here in the middle. So driver's side, passenger side, and all that, it's all controlled from here along with the lock, which is something we appreciate. Now here, 12-volt outlet, very standard. Just over here, you have your aux in port if you use an iPod. I mean, you know, probably don't use an iPod nowadays because we've all moved on to Spotify, that kind of thing. USB-C, USB-A, and then down below, you have your four-wheel drive controls. So let's start with this one. This is your selector for what drive you're going to have. So you have your 2 high, 4-wheel drive high, and then 4-wheel drive high part-time, and then neutral, then 4-wheel drive low. So depending on the situation, well, if you're an off-road enthusiast, you're going to know what all of that means and when to use that depending on the situation. You also have your drive selector here, which meaning your transmission control right here. So it's PRND with the manual mode on the left, and it's a pull to shift up, push to shift down, the way we prefer. But the control panel under here, this is the most interesting part. So for you guys who like to mount accessory lights, like driving lights and all that, the control panel here with aux switches is going to be very useful for you. There are 4 buttons there that are just blanks really, but you can wire it in, and then you can wire your accessories there. You don't have to drill or tap anything. It's just a matter of connecting wires and you're good to go. So, you know, get a good electrician for that. And over here you have Off-Road Plus, which is going to come in handy when we go onto the rocks down there. And then the sway bar disconnect over here. So like I said, when you have the sway bar disconnect, you want a sway bar for when you're on road to give you the stability when you're driving. But when you're off-road, you want the axle to be able to move, to articulate, you know, more freely, and that's what that gives you. So you don't have to go down, pull out a wrench and remove that manually. In this one, you can disconnect it very easily. And then you have your lockers. So normally in a lot of trucks you have lockers for the rear, which is standard, but this one has front and rear. So if you push this down, it's rear only. If you pull it up, then you've got front and rear. But some of the new features in this version, for one, this is the first Jeep Wrangler to have power seats, meaning the front seats are actually electrically adjustable. Now, Jeep has always been hesitant to do that because a lot of people do off-road with their vehicles and they don't want any electronics down below to kind of get harmed by water. But now that they've put it in, they know that they've got electronics that can really withstand the elements if you have to go through water. So that's always a plus. So now let's get back to the controls and the features of the vehicle. So right over on the left, you can control what you see on the screen here with the direction buttons there and control the features there. You've also got your Bluetooth telephony controls right here, very easy to access. And then here, you have your adaptive cruise control. Yes, this one comes with ADAS, so it has things like the forward collision warning plus, you have the blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, and then of course adaptive cruise control, and you can adjust the speed as well as the distance of the vehicle in front of you. Makes it easy when you're on a long road trip. So the big upgrade though is right here, this very crisp and clear 12.3-inch screen. So here you can control a lot of functions of the vehicle. You notice all those buttons, you can customize it depending on the profile that you have active. This can do up to I think 5 profiles, including a valet mode. So you know the valet can't mess around with your stuff, and it'll restrict some of the features of the vehicle for a valet. Now the vehicle functions here, one of the things I really enjoyed, you do have the mirror dimmer here, yeah, that's normal, but you have the rear view camera right here, and it's nice and clear, and you have the guidelines there, helps you really position the vehicle. And you have the front camera, which allows you to really get on, hey, there's a chicken there, what's he doing there? But yes, it gives you the ability to see ahead, and later when we're off-road, it's gonna come in handy. Now the dashboard here, you have the off-road pages. Let's open that now. So it gives you There, so you can see the steering angle, sway bar is connected. All the features you want to play around with when it comes to your 4x4, you can do it right here. At the accessory gauges, so you have oil temp, transmission temp, coolant temp, battery voltage, all that stuff displayed for you so you can monitor the status of your vehicle. Your pitch and roll angles is very handy. The front camera, like we showed you already, very, very nice. And then it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So right now we're in the middle of nowhere, so Waze isn't really, the GPS navigation, the onboard navigation, not showing anywhere. And then, ooh, that's a nice song. I haven't heard that in a while. But this is the Apple CarPlay of the vehicle. And as you can see, very nice and clear. Yeah, this is Nico's phone, so that's why we're seeing a very popular band nowadays. So anyways, that's about it for the new features of the vehicle. I'm sure there are more, and we'll list it all down because there's really a lot to enjoy with this vehicle. And if you want to go open top, you can start removing those panels. But right now it's about to rain, so let's go take it out and see how this behaves on the rocks over there and in the water. All right, let's rock and roll with the new Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. Actually, no, let's just rock, not roll. We don't intend to roll. And this kind of terrain where it's really just all rocks and all that, it's actually quite easy for this vehicle. I mean, it's got all that protection underneath, got all that clearance, but you still have to be careful about where you place your tires. And what's coming in handy is this, the forward-facing camera, like I showed you earlier. So let's try, see if we can, yeah, we do get a nice view of what's underneath the vehicle, and it just makes life so easy. And the clarity, this one is a reverse view, so that makes it very, very clear where you're placing the tire. So I'll put the forward on now. And also what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lock the front and rear axles. Now turning is gonna be a little more difficult, but what's gonna happen is it's gonna make it even easier because it's giving me maximum traction and drive, especially in the low range, over this kind of terrain when you're crawling over. We're not gonna crawl over any really big rocks or anything like that, but still, this is very handy to have. Mind you, this is just a little short test of what this vehicle can do because it's already proven anyway. But the confidence it gives you is just, yeah, really, really nice. And you can kind of stop, double check, okay, that rock may be too dangerous, so you move over to the right or to the left, makes it easy. Oh, and by the way, I do have the front sway bar disconnected now, so you should be able to see it in the camera under there, how the axle is actually doing. It's going to be articulating more easily compared to when the sway bar is connected. So right now I'm trying to hop it over one of these rocks. No, I'm not gonna scrape anything, am I? Nope, seems to be okay. That's the ground clearance right there, working for you very easily. Like I said earlier, the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon was engineered, designed to be as capable even in tricky water conditions. Now the water weighting of this is quoted at 34 inches, which in millimeters is about, let me do some math, times 25.4, 863 point something, I think, more or less. We'll check our math right now. And right now we're nowhere near that because still when you're water weighting, you want to be as careful as possible. Especially right now, the river is murky and it's a little bit tricky to see even with this camera. And right now, yeah, it's doing it very, very easy. By the way, I don't have the sway bar, the front and rear lockers locked yet. So yeah, very nice. It just makes life easy. There you go. Let's try the locker progress. There you go. And what? Steep and it's wet and it's, there you go, there you go. You just have to trust that it is going to grip. It really is an experience getting in and out of a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, because it doesn't have side steps, it has rock sliders. And that is the appeal of something like this, something purpose-driven, something that makes no apologies for being the way it is, for being as cool as it is. The Jeep Wrangler Rubicon starts at $5.59 for the two-door variant. This retails for just under $5.8 million. If you get a chance to buy one or even try one out, well, take it outside of the city, because as they say, where the road ends, the fun begins.